When it comes to Brandenburg's diplomacy, before you even unpause the game, you want to make sure you get an alliance with Austria. This is almost a guaranteed alliance. It obviously is RNG like everything else in the game, but you're more than likely to get the alliance. So if you're not able to get the alliance, just restart until you get it, because it is extremely important that you have Austria as an ally, since when you start gobbling up provinces within the HRE, if they are your ally, they're not gonna be attacking you or demanding unlawful territory. After you wait for 1 day so that you can get a second ally, you go to your Diplo screen here and see who is available to be your ally. Now you want to go for mainly electors such as Saxony or Bohemia. Usually you cannot get Bohemia, but in some cases I've noticed in 1.30 you can get Bohemia, and if you do, then that's going to be really good for you, since Bohemia is a very strong nation and it's actually going to be helping you out in your war against Poland later on in the game. Wait another 2 days so you get your diplomat back and so that you can get your third alliance, and as I previously said, make sure you get an elector as an ally. Recommended is to get either Mainz or Trier if you can, or Köln, since they are quite far away from you, and you are not going to have to fight with them for expansion in their particular areas. You can also get Saxony if you don't want to expand in the Saxon area at the very start. This means that you will probably get some more electors voting for you. As you can see, Bohemia and Saxony will be voting for us when the month ticks. For the first 50 years of the game, I highly recommend you make sure that you keep the alliance with Austria, if possible Bohemia, but it's not mandatory, since you want to take over Silesia and the Lusacian lands here, and as many electors, or better yet, any major nation within the HRE, since you want to get some strong allies within the HRE before expanding outside and looking for allies outside of the HRE. This is important because having an ally within the HRE means that they get much less aggressive expansion with you when you start taking provinces around them or just within the HRE itself. When it comes to rivaling nations, I recommend rivaling Stettin and Wolgast from the very start, since you will be expanding into those provinces very early on, and that's going to be your main expansion path. When it comes to your third rival, I recommend either Mecklenburg or Magdeburg, but I suggest waiting for 1 month to tick so that you can see which allies both of these nations get, since you want to use this third rivalry to just attack them on the 11th of December to get the humiliation splendor bonus already from the start of the game. When it comes to the estates, make sure you get the summon the diet estate interaction first, and depending on whichever missions you feel are right for you, get whatever you like to get. After you summon the diet, you should seize land from the estates, and then we should give some privileges away. We're gonna go with monopoly on livestock and mining and smelting, and make sure you give out all of the monopolies for all of the other estates as well. Now this is done basically because it is an early boost in the cash, but aside from the cash, the production income is not much in the very beginning, but what's more important is that you get one mercantilism, which is definitely gonna help you out later on in the game. I also recommend going for the aristocratic councillors and the supremacy over the crown. The supremacy over the crown is so that you can actually have the diet summoned by the nobility itself, and also gives you a nice 10% equilibrium and influence to all of the estates. The aristocratic councillors is basically because you want to focus on military at the very start so you can get the early Tech 4 before everybody else. So you want to hire a military advisor, and with the aristocratic councillors it's going to be 25% cheaper. Heading on over back to the estates, we also want to give the religious state privilege to the clergy, simply because we want to get +1 monthly administrative power. It's because we also want to get tech level 4 as fast as possible when it comes to admin tech, but we don't want to get 2 advisors since it would be too expensive for Brandenburg. As such, putting 1 here and 1 here through the advisor and the privilege balances it out in the long run. I also recommend giving free enterprises to the burghers and oversight by the clergy to the clergy. When it comes to trade, you don't have any presence in the Lübeck trade node. Well, you have 1 province, but that's not much at the very start. So what you want to do is send your Vienna trader to the Saxon trade node to collect. This basically is going to give you a trade boost to how much trade you're already collecting from the Saxon trade node, which is your home trade node. And once you have some provinces within the Lübeck trade node, you want to switch over the other trader to collect trade in the Lübeck trade node. Later on, once you have a major city in the Lübeck trade node such as Hamburg, Lübeck, Bremen, and so on, you want to switch over your main trade city there so that that becomes your home trade region. Army wise, you start off with 9,000 units, which is quite a bit. to be fair, in the HRE. Now what you want to do is you want to hire the Free Company. These boys are 4,000 strong and they have their own manpower pool, but the best part about the Free Company is that they cost half of what your regular troops cost. Make sure not to hire any of the more expensive mercenary companies. Even though they are better and have better boosts, they are much more expensive and you cannot afford them as Brandenburg, especially since you're going over your force limit by 1. You want to make sure that you make both your heir and your king generals in your army and see which one is better out of the two of them. You want to get rid of both of them. They're horrible leaders, especially your heir. So if he has really bad roles like this one in our situation here, you might even want to disinherit him once you get a bit more prestige. After you get one other elector to vote for you, you will be getting the Imperial Ambitions, which is a modifier that gives you +1 diplomat for the next 15 years and improved relations +15%. Whilst you wait for the new mark event to trigger, you should be declaring war on whoever one of these two you've rivaled. So in my case, I rivaled Magdeburg because they had Berg as an ally, which is an easy kill. So declare war on that, go for the Humiliate Rival Casus Belli. When you do your peace treaty with the Humiliation Casus Belli against a nation, you get the option of either showing strength, which is going to give you 100 monarch points of each monarch point, or you can actually just go for the humiliate, which is going to give you access to more options such as transfer trade power, war reparations, and some actual money itself. I would recommend going for the humiliation actually at the start, since you're going to need this for your splendor bonuses. This is going to make it tick faster so you can get your first age bonus, which should be the aggressive expansion impact -10%. After you get the Fate of Neumark event, make sure you pay the 100 ducats and then you're going to get the 2 provinces of Neumark and Dromburg. And owning these 2 provinces means that you can get your first mission that will give you permanent claims on all of the Pomeranian region. This means that you can attack Wolgast and Stettin at any time. I do recommend, however, to attack Wolgast. So declare war on Wolgast and make sure that you declare a conquest war, not a humiliate rival war. After you've annexed Wolgast, you're going to get access to the Pomeranian succession mission, which is going to give you permanent claims on East Prussia, West Prussia, which means all of this province here. A second mission that you're going to get for owning 15 provinces directly, which is due to you getting the 2 provinces from the Neumark event as well as the 5 provinces from Wolgast after the war, is the Show of Strength, which is going to give you a permanent claim on most of the northern part of Germany. So as you can see, all of this we can actually attack, including the Saxony-Anhalt state. This is extremely important since whenever you hit a bottleneck and you cannot attack, for example, the Teutons because, oh hey, they have too many strong allies, you can always attack some smaller nations here, such as East Frisia or Verdun, since you don't need to border them because you already have the permanent claim, so you can just annex them after the war should you wish to. Keep the wars in north of Germany for later because your main focus should be getting the provinces of Königsberg and if possible Danzig from the Teutons. The reason you should be sniping for these provinces is because the Polish will get an event that will make the Danzig nation appear, and the Teutons are going to be locked in a war against Danzig and Poland, which means that the Teutons are going to disappear very early on in the 1450s. Make sure you also set up your new rival, which should be the Teutonic Order after you've eaten up Wolgast. By the time you declare war on the Teutons, you should have tech level 4 because of focusing on your military power, as well as getting 50 power projection simply by eclipsing and overtaking some of your smaller previously rivaled neighbors. Once again, make sure you declare the conquest and not the humiliate Casus Belli war. You should have an easy time in the war. If you need to, you can always recruit some more mercenaries. You might face the situation where the Poles actually declare war on the Teutons at the same time as you. In that case, try and get as many of the Teutonic lands as possible, especially the ones bordering you and the ones that you're interested in. Make sure you do get Königsberg, and if it's not possible to get Danzig because of too much aggressive expansion, you can always just get a bit of cash instead of that. After you do piece them out, make sure that you core Königsberg, and in case the Poles actually fully annex the Teutons, you can just release it as a nation and use their cores afterwards to just reconquest everything around. To fulfill the Prussian expansion mission, you actually have to take most of the Teutonic lands here, so that will not happen for a while. As such, remember this other mission set that we had that gave you permanent claims on all of these provinces around. Whenever you can, you just snipe over whatever provinces you can, and that's going to give you access to more permanent claims in the Westphalian region as well as other parts of North Germany. Through its mission tree, the Brandenburgians can actually get most of Germany as a permanent claim. Later on, some really awesome missions that Brandenburg has include the German Confederation that give you a +5 admin efficiency, professional army that gives you a really awesome event that I recommend you go for, renovate Berlin, which also triggers an event, empower the Junkers, reform the state, enlighten absolutism, which gives you +20 maximum absolutism, as well as the Edict of Potsdam. Once you get your first idea set, you need to make sure that you get the right one. Now, Brandenburg misses two things at the very beginning. It has a horrible economy and it doesn't have that many units. So the very first idea sets that you should be going for are quantity and economic. If you have more military power points whenever you can get the new idea set, then go for quantity ideas. If you have more admin, go for economic. Let's say you go for quantity first and you can get that first sweet plus 15% manpower modifier. Don't forget, once you get admin tech 7, you should go for the economic ideas second, since together they can give you the agricultural cultivation policy, which gives -10% dev cost and land force limit +10%, which together with the economic ideas bonus that gives you -20% dev cost means that you're going to be deving up your provinces for almost nothing with a reduction of 30%. As a third idea set, it really depends on your situation. I do recommend religious though for the awesome Deus Vult Casus Belli that gives you 75% aggressive expansion, as well as for the fact that it makes it a lot easier converting stuff and it doesn't trigger the religious war in the 1500s.